I think we're live. I hope we're live. I had to rush and put this together, but I'm going to try to do the best we can. Let me silence my phone. Guys, if you can see me, let me know so I'm not wasting my time and effort and having to do it again. Let's see. Looks like we got we got 60 eyes on here according to StreamYard, and I look like trash. I was just rustling around with my dog. All right, we're here. How you doing, everybody? I'm going to jump right into this. We have breaking news. The ATF is at it again. They literally have just come out with. Let me read it to you here. I'm going to share it on the screen. They're coming after pistol braces again. So they're going to go over a couple things. I haven't read the whole thing. It's 71 pages. I just wanted to get the information in your hands so that you can do your own education and research. But here is what we're looking at. It says on June 7th, 2021, that is today's date, the Attorney General signed ATF Proposed Rule 2021 Romeo-08, factoring criteria for firearms with attached stabilizing braces. And let me see if I can blow that up for you on the screen. It's going to make it look ugly. Sorry, we'll just have to roll with it. Where was I? Okay, amending ATF's regulations to clarify when a rifle is, quote, intended to be fired from the shoulder. The proposed rule outlines the factors ATF would consider when evaluating firearms equipped with a purported stabilizing brace to determine whether these weapons would be considered a rifle or short-barreled rifle under the Gun Control Act of 1968, or a rifle or firearm subject to regulation under the National Firearms Act. What is proposed in this rulemaking? The proposed rule would amend the definition of rifle in 27 CFR 478.11 and 479.11, respectively, by adding a sentence at the end of each definition to clarify that the term rifle includes any weapon with a rifled barrel and equipped with an attached stabilizing brace that has objective design features and characteristics that would indicate that a firearm is designed to be fired from the shoulder. The second thing, it would set forth a worksheet. It's going to be titled Factoring Criteria for Rifled Barreled Weapons with Accessories Commonly Referred to as Stabilizing Braces. It will be ATF Worksheet 4999 to aid the firearms industry and the public in understanding the criteria that ATF considers when evaluating firearm samples that are submitted with an attached stabilizing brace or similar component or accessory. This proposed rule would not affect stabilizing braces that are objectively designed and intended as a stabilizing brace for use by individuals with disabilities and not for shouldering the weapon as a rifle. Such stabilizing braces are designed to conform to the arm and not as a buttstock. Okay, now let me come back to see if I can do this without blowing my computer up. All right, we're back. So I can just now see my comments. I will pick through some of them here momentarily. I'm not looking to ignore anybody, but I just think that getting the information out right now is the most important thing. So I'm going to show you now, and we're going to rip through just a couple of the first pages of the proposed rule here. I need to change my screeny, and let's see if I can make this pop off. Here we go. Please work. There we go. All right. So this is just telling the Department of Justice and the docket number and all that stuff, which I will have these links in the description once I'm done with the live and can edit right quick. So the summary tells you everything I just said. The dates. This is something we're going to need to look at and pay attention to because this comes up every single time there's some type of thing to comment on. Written comments must be postmarked and electronic comments must be submitted on or before insert date 90 days after the date of publication in the Federal Register. That will be our delay. All right. The Attorney General, Merrick Garland, just signed this. Just signed it. So now it'll take a couple of days, maybe a couple of weeks like the definition for frame and receiver took, but we cannot comment comment period does not open electronically until it is published in the Federal Register. So keep that in mind. I understand we all want to jump on this and make our voices heard, because the pen is mightier than the sword until you absolutely need to use the sword. But we have to wait until it's open. So I got a ton of comments, and so did other people who were trying to get people motivated about I can't comment, and this is why. So you have to wait for it to be published in the Federal Register. Let's go back to the form here. All right. I will, again, put all this in the description. I'll have the links there so we can all jump on this. Supplementary information here, the background. It's going to go through the Gun Control Act and the NFA and how the Attorney General is deemed king in those acts there, and how the statutory definitions of firearm are different under the GCA and the NFA. Okay, nothing huge or earth-shattering there. What I want to show you is... I just glanced through a couple pages here. They directly address on how we commented like crazy in November and December, and how they pulled the proposed rule. They definitely, like I told you back then and since then, they were going to address those differences and make and have their self a more stable platform in their eyes. And I think it's on page 10, but there's a couple things here that I wanted to point out. As described below, the addition, I'm looking right here, guys, on the screen. The addition of an accessory that is marketed as a stabilizing brace to a pistol does not guarantee that the resulting firearm will still be classified as a pistol. Indeed, classifying a firearm based on a limited or singular characteristic, such as the marketing label of the manufacturer, that is the item, that the item is a stabilizing brace, has the potential to be significantly over-inclusive or under-inclusive. Now, I wanted to point that particularly out because let's bring our memory banks, let's go dig back in there. Remember the issue that they had with SB Tactical a few months ago. That's directly addressing that. Remember how there were a couple braces that, well, actually, there was several braces that the ATF was saying that SB Tactical never had the okay for. Well, SB Tactical had basically a blanket type letter from the ATF, said as long as you stay true to this first couple that we approved, you'll be good. So now we have a different boss man or boss woman currently of the ATF. There's issues there, and they're addressing that. So now if we have any of those pistol braces that were in question, not only by SB Tactical but every other company that makes them, if they don't have the okay from the kings and queens in the ATF, the ones who try to make law without being a member of Congress, the ones that should be defunded and removed from this great land, as far as jobs, are they going to cast that wide net now? And now are there millions and millions of new SBRs out there that we didn't even know we owned? Keep that in mind, because this is all going to play a big role. I'm going back to the document. I wanted to show you now... Here, this was the next section. If you can see the highlighted portion, the last paragraph on page 9 here. ATF's long-standing and publicly known position is that a firearm does not evade classification under the NFA merely because the firearm is configured with a device marketed as a stabilizing brace or arm brace. When a purported stabilizing brace and an attached weapon's objective design features indicate that the firearm is actually designed and intended to be fired from the shoulder, such weapon may fall within the scope of the NFA, requiring registration. Give us our money, because that's what we're here to do, is to collect your money and to extort you for your rights. Sorry, I just translated that. It's a new class I started taking. Page 10, there was a portion here. Yes, last paragraph on page 10 I wanted to point out to you. It is estimated that manufacturers of stabilizing braces have sold 3 million stabilizing braces since 2013. I would venture to say it is considerably higher than that. ATF has observed that the development and production of rifled barrel weapons with stabilizing braces has become more prevalent in the firearms industry, and that consequently, requests for classification of this kind of firearm design have also increased. We're upset because we don't have your money. ATF has classified several firearms with the stabilizing braces, and the objective features used to make the classifications have been described in letters to the industry, which we've all seen. John Crump put all that stuff out when he got it through a FOIA request, so none of this is new information. But this is the new part here. Same paragraph, if you can see where it says therefore. Therefore, to aid the firearms industry and public. Actually, I want to go to the sentence before that. This goes directly towards November. However, ATF has received criticism for not more widely publishing the criteria and for not publishing a definitive approach in the application of that criteria. Therefore, to aid the firearms industry and the public in understanding the criteria that FAT-D considers when evaluating firearm samples that are submitted with an attached stabilizing brace or similar component or accessory, ATF proposes a worksheet to be entitled Factoring Criteria for Rifle-Barreled Weapons with Accessories, commonly referred to as stabilizing braces. That will be ATF Worksheet 4999. The purpose of this worksheet is to allow individuals or members of the firearms industry to evaluate whether a weapon incorporating a stabilizing brace that they intend to submit to FAT-D or to offer for sale will be considered a short-barreled rifle or firearm under the GCA or NFA. FAT-D will use the criteria within Worksheet 4999 and resulting point value when evaluating and classifying submitted firearm. I want to go over this because there's a point value and there's 4 questions that you may or may not want to be aware of when you may or may not look at some of these items that you may or may not own or consider buying. Okay? So we're going to go right down here. It says application of ATF Worksheet 4999. Okay? And we're going to jump right down to BS. So a firearm that accumulates less than 4 points in Section 2, which is the accessory characteristics, and less than 4 points in Section 3, which is configuration of weapon, will generally be determined not to be designed to be fired from the shoulder unless there is evidence that the manufacturer or the maker expressly intended to design the weapon to be fired from the shoulder. A firearm that accumulates 4 points or more, right here now, 4 points or more in Section 2 or 3 will be determined to be designed to be intended from the or fired from the shoulder. Therefore, it's going to be NFA or GCA depending on what you have that is being looked at. Now, submitted. Let me go over that real quick. How does a firearm get submitted? Like, obviously, we're not going to grab all of our stuff and submit it to the ATF and say, please, wannabe kings and wannabe queens, tell me what I have and maybe put me in prison, right? Nobody's going to do that. But what that is for is, say, I don't know, let's put scenarios that have already happened and were covered in the previous months by this channel and other channels. You're at the range, you're shooting whatever item you have, and some jackass decides to blow the whistle because your item's too loud, or maybe it's too quiet, or maybe it's too short, or maybe it's really, really cool. And they want to make sure that you have paid $200 for a stamp. Now, whether it's a police officer or not, if that in that scenario that's happened in the past, people have been arrested, those firearms have been seized, sometimes illegally, and sent to the FAT-D and the ATF for classification. That's where these come in. Now, this is typically for an added-on charges because you've probably already been booked with either, possession of an unlicensed firearm or not having a permit to carry a firearm in your state or whatever. The vast majority or the stupid net of gun control laws that they can jam people up in for shooting something. Even if you own it on the outright and they think it's a short-barreled rifle, you can get charged for that. Now, let's get back into it. I just want to cover that because that's people always say, I'm not going to submit my stuff. It's also for like law enforcement submit it, which is going to happen more often than not for the average consumer end. Okay, so that's the firearm if it has those points. Next, I want to do here. As a preliminary factor, let me mark it so you can see it here. As a preliminary factor, when evaluating a submitted sample, certain prerequisites, i.e. weapon weight and overall length, will be applied to determine if the firearm will even be considered as a possible pistol or immediately determined to be a rifle as defined by the applicable statute. So if you have a rifle, if you have an AR pistol or an AK pistol that they think is too heavy, now you automatically have a rifle because that's what they say. As discussed, stabilizing braces were originally marketed as intended to assist persons with disabilities and others lacking significant grip strength to control heavier pistols. Therefore, attaching a stabilizing brace to a typical pistol where no assistance is necessary, or attaching one to a firearm so heavy or difficult to control that one-handed shooting is impractical or inaccurate, regardless of the manufacturer's stated intent, so it doesn't matter what's on the box, will change the definition of the firearm into a rifle intended to be fired from the shoulder. Indeed, the purported stabilizing brace would have no design function other than to facilitate the firing of the weapon from the shoulder. All right, so these are the things that they're going to be looking at on this worksheet 4999, okay, right here. The point values will range from 0 to 4. And guys, I promise I'll wrap it up after this. I don't want to go too long, but I think this is like the meat and potatoes right here of how they're going to be looking at stuff. And I don't know about you, but I am absolutely sick and freaking tired of the infringements on this country and on the freedom of this country, our individual liberties, and those of us who try to follow the goddamn law. All right? You're going to have to excuse the French. I'm a little pissed. They do nothing to stop the freaking criminals, only to try to make more criminals and get their tax money. So these are the points here. All right? You will get 1 point for a minor indicator. The weapon could be fired from the shoulder. Could be. So it looks like everybody's going to get 1 point, because that's how gray that is. That's right here for those looking at home. Okay? 2 points. It's a moderate indicator if the weapon may be designed and intended to be fired from the shoulder. This is all subjective bullshit. All right? How do you know what the person who designed this firearm might have been thinking, or how the end user could be using it? This is amazingly stupid, but this is our government. 3 points, which would be a strong indicator the weapon is likely designed and intended to be fired from the shoulder. And that's where they're going to use those items such as weight or length, attachments you might have on it, something like that, like a forward or an angled foregrip, stuff like that. 4 points would be the decisive indicator. The weapon is designed and intended to be fired from the shoulder. As in ATF Form 4590, the point values associated with particular features or designs are based upon their relative importance in classifying the firearm under law. In this case, design factors that are more likely to demonstrate the manufacturer's or maker's intent to produce a short barrel rifle and market it as a braced pistol accrue more points than those that reveal less evidence. All right, so it kind of sounds on that portion that I just read that NSSF needs to get to be aware, and I'm sure they already are, because that looks like they're coming after more manufacturers, similar to like what they did with Q and the Honey Badger. There are certain inherent features that may support a design as a stabilizing brace and also a shoulder stock. For example, a large amount of surface area on the rear purported stabilizing brace may indicate that it is designed to be fired from the shoulder and facilitate its use as a shoulder stock. I'm sure we're all thinking the same thing right now, going over items that we may have seen in stores that might be, marketed as a pistol brace that could have this substantial stabilizing support area. So if you were looking at buying those items, maybe not buy them now, or maybe buy them anyway, because who the hell cares? These complexities cannot serve merely to exempt all firearms purported with stabilizing braces. Yada, yada, yada. Again, you have this ATF worksheet 4999 is what they're going to use. And I don't think, let me come back to my mug so you don't have to see me scroll through all these 71 pages here. I don't think that it's attached, or is it? It might be. And if it is, I'll put it on the screen. Yeah. It is. Okay, so I'm going to put, there you are. I'm going to put that actual form here on the screen so we can see what they're talking about, what they're looking for. Boom. All right. Can I make it larger? Larger for you. Without cutting it off? No. Let me try this. Boom. Oh, that didn't do anything on my end. Apologies, guys. This is like a hurry up and run with it type deal. All right, this is the form ATF for worksheet 4999. So this is what they're going to use. It's a 2-page document on what they're going to decide, how they're going to decide to screw you and violate your rights further for items that you have already owned for years, legally and lawfully, because we want our $200. So here you go. We'll start with the left column. AR type with SB mini accessories. So they're already going after SB tactical. I mean, I would assume, unless that stands for stabilizing brace, But just the way they put it, the first thing I thought was SB Tactical. So we'll assume stabilizing brace. So an AR with a stabilizing brace mini accessory. All right. Then the section 1 prerequisites, I can't talk. The weapon must weigh less than 64 ounces. And then there's a column for 91 ounces. That's the max. I don't know. It's vague. So this is the vague stuff. And then he says, weighted without a magazine, unloaded, accessories removed. Number 2, the weapon must have an overall length between 12 and 26 inches. Okay, 25 and 1/8 is in this column, and it says, this is like this is an example of how they're grading this particular weapon that weighs 91 ounces and has an overall length of 25 and 1/8. Okay, so the length is measured with all non-operational accessories removed, and that's that was a tweak they made it was probably 2 years ago now. Non-operational. So if you have like a piston gun, and you don't need the buttstock or anything like that to operate, that's not included in the length. Weapon must meet both prerequisites in order to proceed. Okay, so it has to have those. Now it goes forward assuming that. Now these are section 2, accessory characteristics. Accessory design, not based on a known shoulder stock design. Now that is going to be a problem because, or a serious gray area, I would think. And we're looking right here, sorry. Because anything that's on the market now is a known shoulder stock design. So, yeah. Would it incorporate shoulder stock design features? Well, okay. That's probably that broad area we just discussed before looking at this form. Is it based on a known shoulder stock design? Well, kind of gray area there. And again, they're going to maybe 1, 2 points. That's a possibility. Maybe 3 or 4. 4 is a definite. You're going to prison, right? Rear surface area. Does the device incorporate features to prevent use as a shouldering device? What does that mean? Like, does it have to have a hollowed out metal tube sharpened so that if you put it to your shoulder, you will impale yourself? Minimize rear surface area lacking features to discourage shouldering. So it's either going to be number 1 or number 2, I'd assume. Rear surface area useful for shouldering a firearm. Well, that's pretty damn subjective. Right? Material added to increase rear surface for shouldering. Adjustability. Is it non-adjustable and fixed, or is it adjustable or telescoping designed for shouldering? Well, so just because something telescopes so that it fits the shooter means that it's necessarily now it's made for shouldering? I see a problem with that already. Which is why we need to comment, guys. Comment. Stabilizing support, counterbalance design. Is it a non-folder? Does it fold and have a rear contact surface? Or is it a fin type design with an arm strap? Or does it not have an arm strap? Or is it a cuff type design, fully wraps around the arm? Or does it partially wrap? Or does it fail to wrap around the arm? Is it a split stock configuration not designed to wrap around the shooter's arm? I'm sure we can all, envision these type of things. Then it goes over to length of pull and attachment method. You guys get the picture. I don't want to go, beat a dead horse, but there's some examples of different types in here too. We'll just look at the examples that they're using. There's your SB, the SBA3, Shockwave blade. So there's a lot to go through here, and I'll be ripping through it today. I wasn't planning on doing anything else today, but now I'm Project ATF. But I just want everybody to know this is what's out there. It was just signed by the Attorney General. It will not be open for commenting until it is published in the Federal Register. I will let you know when that happens. So stay subscribed to Guns and Gadgets. Check your subscription. If you have been a member, double check it. And I also want to tell you again how important this comment period is. I know a lot of people see it as something that's ridiculous and shouldn't need to be done. And you know what? I kind of agree with you. But this is the only way. If you're familiar with what policies and laws that created the ATF, it had to do with alcohol. All right, it had to do with when people couldn't drink. That's what the ATF was for. And then when Prohibition ended, then they just said, well, let's stick around. Let's have them look at explosives and weed, maybe if it's a cigarette, and firearms. But all they really do is come after gun owners. But this is the only way, when they submit a rule change, this is the only way that the people of this country can voice their opinion in this process. With that said, there are almost 500,000 of you on this channel, and I'm grateful for each and every single one of you. We do not have 500,000 comments, or even close to it, on, let me actually pull it up right now, on the comment period for frame and receiver. Hit refresh, Bobo. Refresh. There have been 44,633 comments received, and of that, 15,610 have been approved so far. That takes some time too, because people have to read these. And so that's terrible. That's horrible for the millions of gun owners out there. That sucks. And if you haven't commented, bite the bullet. Let's put our BS behind us. This is our focus right now, is shutting these people up. We stopped them already once in November with the same issue, pistol brace. We beat them with the green tip ban. We can do it again very easily. But we can't do it if we're not acting as a team. So get that on your radar. And if you haven't commented on frame and receiver, get over there and do it. Don't know what you're waiting for. All right, with that said, let's go to the comments right quick. There's like 3,547 of you here. Thank you so much right now live. That's awesome. Considering they're killing the channel, this is the only way I can get this stuff out to the masses quick. So thank you all for being here and taking time out of your day, middle of the day. I know, I apologize. I'll try to get to the top. And again, I'm on StreamYard, so it refreshes constantly. Boom, let's put that up there. Dude says we're too divided by design to water the tree. Now grab your ankles. Go a little tax slave. Well, that sounds like somebody who doesn't comment. Dude, comment. Do your part, and let's do everything we can do to do it peacefully before we have to do it another way. We haven't exhausted everything we're supposed to, if you know the processes. Boom, 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 boom. Reese says, I want to see a couple 100,000 messages to ATF. So do I. But we're falling behind a lot. Mr. Jones says, thanks for staying on top of it. Oops, I skipped over that one. Double ZZ Ranch, we will not comply. Not comply. Taxing firearms is ridiculous anyway. I agree, but think of it on their end. If they're down just 3 million, according to their records, 3 million times $200 a piece, that's a lot of scratch that goes into their budget, which shouldn't be there anyway. Escape the Matrix, yes, man, that's a lot of people to be watching live. So I don't understand people jump off because they get stuff to do. So I'm going to try to get through these. I just want to acknowledge some of the folks here that took time out of their day to join us. It's already up. Time to comment. I'll double check. It's up, but there's no way that it's published in the register yet. I could be 100% wrong, but it took them 4 weeks to do the pistol brace one. I mean the firearms receiver definition. And if you did comment on in November and December, it says it in this form that I did read, that this is a whole separate thing altogether. Those comments will not carry over to this one. My dog just bought a full set of AR-500 body armor. That's another thing that they want to come after, guys and gals. So, think of that. Gotta watch what you say here on live. Sometimes I get a little carried away, and they don't like that. Defund the ATF. I agree 100%. 100%. I just refreshed, so I lost a bunch of stuff. I do want to thank Ryan. I can't put it up for some reason. Ryan says, ridiculous that people who can't be bothered to write a comment think that they will pick up arms. I mean, that's a great thing that Tim said. If you can't find it in yourself in the time of your busy important day to pick this up, or to type a couple paragraphs on one of these things, it just says a lot about the choices, I guess. Stephen Pierce, thank you, my friend. Me Win, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Wow. Thank you so much, guys and gals. Titan 7 says, anything and everything you need to protect yourself from the government, they're coming after it. And you ain't lying. Ain't lying. How do we put in a comment, Fitzy? I already mentioned it. I'll go over it again. This was just signed by the Attorney General. It will now go through the process of being published in the Federal Register. It will not be able to be commented on. It's not even proper English. We won't be able to comment on that until it is published, just like the frame, receiver, definition change, proposed rule. I will keep everybody up to date, so subscribe to the channel if you want to stay in the know of that, and I will do everything I can to keep you in the loop the second it drops. Anglo-Saxon Knight, I still have to comment, honestly. I don't think the government cares, and it will not stop them. We've won 2 of them already, so it absolutely does make a difference. So just keep that in mind. I know we feel like the walls are getting closer to us, but we've won 2 of them in very recent history. Jeff, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Dog to Dog, where's the new shirts? The Second Amendment wasn't meant for hunting and fishing. It's meant for shooting tyrants in the face. I gotta get with Shall Not Comply and see if they'll make me up a design for that. But I do like that. Very, very in your face. Lisa, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you. All right, guys. We're at 31 minutes into it. This is a very, very important thing, and I hope that you all will do me a solid. Hit the like button. Share it. Share it with everybody you know. Share it on multiple platforms, and get your friends and family involved, because their future, their individual liberties absolutely depend on some of this, and far too many people turn a blind eye to it. So thank you all for your time. I appreciate each and every single one of you. Until we see each other again, be safe, stay vigilant, carry a weapon, and train up. Take care. I'll see you on the next one.